Hello and welcome back to another Router Gods video. My name's Humphrey, and excuse the mess, I am in the process of moving. But this video we're going to talk about the ABTC card. This is the APEC Business Travel Card, and it lets you travel like a diplomat. And that means you get to skip 99.99% of the lines. You get to walk right through the diplomatic lanes and into a country and also exiting the country. So you get to skip potentially hundreds and several hundreds of people, depending on the country. Get to skip all that mess, and it can save you hours and hours of your time. In fact, I estimate that on a recent trip to Kuala Lumpur, it probably saved me between 2 and 2.5 hours of waiting in immigration lines. So we're going to talk about what this card is, who is it for, the benefits, what country it applies for, and also two big exceptions, and I'll put it up front. The two big exceptions are the United States and Canada. While I'm American, I have this card, but this card doesn't get me the full benefits that someone, let's say from Malaysia, Thailand, or Singapore get with this card. What is this card for? So this is the business travel card. It's for members of citizens of the APEC countries, so Vietnam, Australia, US, Canada, etc., including some interesting ones that are not in Asia, which are Mexico is kind of an interesting one. So yeah, this card works in Mexico. So citizens of those countries can apply for this card, and you can kind of think of it as global entry for Americans and Canadians out there. This is super global entry, is being able to use the diplomatic lanes, which often only have like 5 to 10 people. I mean, there's no one in the diplomatic lanes. Sometimes I've gone into the immigration going into a country and there's no one in the diplomatic lane. Now for you Americans who have never traveled before and you're wondering what the big deal is, here's the big deal. In the rest of the world, when you want to exit a country, you have to get stamped out. So, and it's almost always a humongous line. Right? Could be hundreds and hundreds of people. So you've got to show up to the airport like 3 hours early to play it safe. I've shown up to Thailand. You want to get out of Thailand, and it's like 300 people deep on the line. So yeah, having this card is a huge time saver, and can also save you the hassle of missing a flight just in case you couldn't get through immigration. The second benefit of this card is huge. It gets you multiple entry, up to 90 days in some cases, short-term visas into all of the countries in this list. Vietnam, Australia. It means you don't have to apply for visas for those countries because the card is your visa. It's basically a pre-approved visa for all those countries, which is freaking great. Now, sounds good, right? Now you're an American, you're Canadian, you're like, yes, I want this card. There's an exception to this. The US and Canada are what we call transitory members of APEC, which means they're a member, but they're not full members. So while Americans and Canadians can get this card, you can get benefit one, which means you can get the diplomatic lanes. That's awesome, save a lot of time. But you don't get that second benefit of the visa. So in fact, on the back of the card, I'll show a picture of it in the corner. As an American, when I got my card in the back, it's blank. There's a section which says good for entry into these countries. It's blank. Don't worry. It just means that you're not pre-approved for those visas. So you still have to apply. So let's say I want to go to Vietnam, which I do. Let's say I want to go to Vietnam. I still need to apply for the Vietnam e-visa or whatever visa is appropriate for whatever reason. But if I were Australian and I got this APEC card, Australians can just show this card at the immigration in Vietnam, and boom, they're in. Okay, how much does this card cost? Of course, that depends on which country you're from. But in my case, I think it was like 100-something bucks to apply, and it lasts for 5 years, which I thought is a good deal. Now, if you're a business person and you travel to different countries around Asia mostly, and you travel, let's say, even if it's one time per month, I do much more often than that. In some cases, I'm flying multiple times a week, or but this was before and after COVID, right? Now it's a different world out there. But if you're flying multiple times a month, the value of this card is insane. Just being able to skip all the lines is awesome. And I applied in March of 2020. And the thing is that a lot of the immigration staff are assigned to the borders. They're very, very short-staffed. And so you need to do an interview. And my interview kept getting delayed, and also COVID was in the middle of this. And then finally, my interview came up in November 2020, and I did it in Singapore. And it was a very friendly interview. You sit down with the guy at the, I went to the embassy, the US embassy, and you sit down with a guy, very friendly, and he's like, hey, why do you want this card? Here's the big thing. I'm a business person, and I need to go into countries quite often. Boom, done. Do not use this to work. So you're not working, you're a business person, you're doing business meetings. This does not count as a work permit. So that's number one. And then a couple weeks later, I got the card. In short, get the damn thing, save yourself a lot of time and hassle. Think of it as your super global entry to dozens and dozens of countries around Asia, and also Mexico, US, and Canada. All right, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.